Hey everybody, we're gonna give it just a few more minutes. I see people is joining, so we'll give them a little bit more time, and then we'll kick it off. All right, we will get started. Thanks everybody for joining in on this Thursday. I'm happy to see everybody that's joining. And we're gonna jump right into it. My name is Brandon Boone, and I'm the Director of Marketing and External Partnerships for the Austin Urban Technology Movement. For those of you who don't know, we're a nonprofit, and our mission is to bridge the gap for Black and Hispanics in the tech industry. This is our Horizon series. We do this to kind of give an introduction to different professionals and their tech journey, because everybody's journey looks different. So we bring on different guests every month to kind of talk through what their journey look like in tech, due to some of these problems, which is underrepresentation of Blacks and Hispanics, and then the lack of talent to meet demand. And today we have Brittany with us. She's super active in the community, so I know her from being out and about. So I'm glad to bring her on board. Hello, Brittany. How's it going?
Hey, it's good. How are you? Now we outside and inside at work, but it's good to see you. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I can't complain. It's been a good week. Still kind of shaking back from South by,
hmm
but yeah, I'm here. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today. So, kind of, I guess, tell us your title, kind of what you do, and then we kind of go from there.
Yeah, so I do public affairs. I'm the public affairs community specialist at Waymo. If you heard of Waymo in the Austin area, it's the driverless autonomous cars with they're the white ones with the camera at the top rolling around. They've been here for a little while, and basically what I do is outreach to different community organizations, neighborhood associations, all of that good stuff, just to do community engagement pre-market. So before we actually started offering rides with Uber. My job was just to reach out to people if they had complaints, if they were scared or didn't understand what the car was doing or the technology around it, just to do the public education and safety about that. And I actually got the role because someone reached out to me on LinkedIn asking if I wanted to interview.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was you actively looking at the time, or they just kind of fell off in
Oh,
your lap?
yeah. I
Oh,
had my I used to work in politics, so I had my LinkedIn profile on open to work, but only to recruiters. So it didn't have the big like green circle around it. But if you were like a recruiter looking for somebody, it would show like I'm open to work. And so
nice.
they reached out to me on LinkedIn.
It's a good feature to know about. I knew about the open to work feature, but I didn't know you can make it just
Yeah,
to.
it's kind of like stealth a little bit, like just
Yeah,
low
yeah.
key.
I like that. And how long have you been with them?
So I've been with them 18, I think it's been 18 months now. Yeah, 18 months. So I started at the end of the year in 2023. And so I've been with them for a little while now.
Okay, dope, dope, dope. And then I guess what's some of the things you like about the role?
Yeah, so like Brandon said earlier, I'm real active in the community. So being in a role where I'm also bringing the kind of the aspect of being active and learning about different nonprofits and neighborhoods and different like community events, but like being able to fund them or sponsor them has been really cool. So I just really like getting out there, talking to everybody, learning more about like the Austin community, and then talking about Waymo too, because that part is fun. Like seeing people's reactions when they first see the car versus when they get in the car versus when they have their first ride is really fun. It's been an experience, and I really enjoy it.
Nice, nice. I feel like Austin always has some interesting things going on. So when I first seen the car, I was like, why is somebody in this car? Like, what's going on? Because I see the little robots and stuff that, I guess that delivers, that do deliveries and stuff. But when I saw the car, I was like, yeah, Austin.
Yeah, I had to do research even before I started the role. I was like, let me do some research. And like with Waymo, I mean, they were formerly like the Google self-driving car project. So they've been around forever. And I was like, okay, they've been around a long time. They've been in Phoenix for a long time, like since 2020. And so I'm like, okay, they've been around a little bit. So, learning more about them and like the technology that they have in my role it's been fun.
Nice, nice. And somebody just asked real quick. They asked, can people drive? People can drive them, right? As far as getting the data, but it's mainly self-drive for like Uber rides and stuff now, right?
Yeah, it's completely self-drive. So when you get in the car, no one can sit in the driver's seat. In the front seat is, passenger side or back seat only. But there are people that are watching the car at all times too. So if at any point they need to like take over or, they're gonna be like, hey, they'll jump on the screen and be like, hey, don't worry, we got it. We're controlling the car right now. So it's gonna back up and do this and do that. And it's pretty, yeah. There's someone that can control the car, but you can't control the car.
Got you. Okay, that's good to know. Dope. So yeah, let's talk about a little bit about your background before joining Waymo. Kind of take us through what that looked like for you.
Yeah, so I was always interested in like politics and I don't know, I wanted to change the world. And I used to say I wanted to be Olivia Pope without the affair. Like I just wanted to be like a change maker, going in, doing stuff, fixing things. And so I went to school. I went to the University of Oklahoma. I got my bachelor's in political science and I minored in nonprofit organizations. Because initially I wanted to lobby. So I was a lobbyist for a long time. So I worked in the Texas State Capitol for a really long time. And then also got my master's of public administration and public policy. And also a certificate in women's entrepreneurship because business. but yeah, my background has been mainly in like the political world or in the nonprofit world, kind of like in that realm.
Okay, dope. That's good to know because I think sometimes people always think you have to have a super technical background to get a job in tech, but there's so many different pathways. So I'm glad that you come from a non-traditional route.
Yeah, because I'm not technical at all.
Nah, that's super dope to hear. Okay, so you went from a political background, lobbying, you was open to work. So I guess what was kind of the reaction when they reached out to you for this role?
Yeah, so they were super interested just because with every company, especially in new, like Waymo is a startup, it's funded by Alphabet, but it's technically still like in that startup stage. And so with startups, anytime they go into a community, especially with tech, like a self-driving car, they need people who like to talk. I'm a yapper. So they are looking for people who are already in the community doing things and not that super technical role, but someone who can talk about the technology in like common terms. Like I can tell you, this is what this does. This is what that does. And so when they reached out to me, they knew that I understood how to like kind of take really complex terms, whether it's like in policy or in tech, and kind of turn it into like normal terms. And then kind of just, I don't know, be like someone that's already in the community. So they want someone who's immersed or just kind of can talk to people without feeling like scared or nervous, or whether if there's like conflict, like neighborhood associations, they're like, they're mad sometimes. And so like, can you stand in front of a bunch of angry neighbors who don't want cars in their neighborhood and tell them like, hey, it's safe, this is what we can do. And so even though I didn't have that kind of technical background, I still was able to use like all of the experience I had before working in policy and kind of like, I think I worked with AT&T before. And so I was able to kind of get that like not genetic data, but data privacy and like 5G and all that other stuff. And working with some other companies in genetic like data privacy. kind of like taking all that experience that I have had before and emphasizing that during the like interview process and talking about the skills they were also looking for helped me. So if at any point in any job you've had, if there's anything that connects to technology in any way, I definitely highlight it. And that's what I did.
Nice. And did you highlight those things specifically or in a specific way on your LinkedIn? Or is just based on the experiences, or did you have like the projects that you was working on? Like, are you super active on LinkedIn, and that's how you highlight all those, or was it more in an interview process?
It was definitely in the interview process. I have a LinkedIn and I try to post on there, but I don't think I'm made. I mean, I'm active in the sense that I do reach out to people all the time. Like I like to connect with people who are either in public affairs or in the tech world or in both. And so like if there was someone in the industry, if it's not like in kind of the automation industry or like kind of like self-driving, any of that technology, like I'm connecting with you on LinkedIn just so we can see what we're doing and how they're you know, I guess posting. But I don't know, I'm kind of shy on LinkedIn like when it comes to external stuff, but during the interview process I was doing a lot of research about Waymo. So I'm like, in this previous, like, who have they looked for before? Who has this role in a different state? And what do they look like on LinkedIn? Who's my boss? Like, who's the hiring manager? What do they post? What are they looking for? And so I like went back to my resume and I was like, okay, I have kind of worked in tech and I know some tech terms. I know a lot about privacy. And since there's cameras in the car, I know people are concerned about their privacy. So I'm like, I'm gonna highlight that part. Or, they're looking for someone who's in public affairs. So I'm not gonna always highlight I used to teach or I used to do this. I'm like, let me just stick to the things that they're looking for and make sure I can say like, oh, I've worked in this with this company, or I've done this bill that did this, or I've worked with these different community members, or I know these different people. And so a lot of the times I was like highlighting exactly what they were looking for in the job description instead of like putting all my experience out there.
Right.
From time to time, they don't care. Like anything else, it's like, okay, cool, you did that. But like they want to know, can you do what's in the role? And so just like, all of the public affairs experience I had and all the like tech experience or any sort of, I took something very complicated and turned it into something very simple. That's what they're looking for.
Nice, very informative. I'm over here taking notes. So what are some things you'll do differently if you could go back and kind of?
Yeah. So with Waymo and just in general, getting involved with local organizations sooner. And I also attribute that to the pandemic. So I moved here in 2016 and then again in 2018. And so I had some time to kind of get used to some local organizations. But the pandemic happened. But like, once the world opened kind of back up, just getting involved with a lot of different local organizations like AUTMHQ. I heard about y'all, but I was like, I'm too scared to go to anything. I don't know. And it's just like pushing yourself out of that comfort zone because you never know like who you'll meet. I've met so many cool people through AUTMHQ, through some other like local organizations who like, even if we're not working in tech or they're not working in tech, if I need something or if I'm like, hey, this contract might end soon, or, are you looking for something? How can I help you? And just like add me on LinkedIn, that way we'll get connected. And so just getting involved like in the community, actually talking to people, introducing like myself and not being scared to just put myself out there and, say, this is who I am, this is what I can offer, and not even offer like in the sense of like transactional, but just like building that community, like getting to know people and knowing who they are and what they do. Definitely resting to avoid burnout. Sometimes I start working and then I don't know how to rest. And so resting often, like I like to take naps now. I take a nap every day and I'm just like, that's what I need to do to like reset, because my job is very social. And so talking to people every day sometimes gets tiring, or just, being like on and like happy,
Right,
and, all of that is like, oh gosh, I'm tired.
It's
And so
definitely draining.
like drained. Making sure I have time to like rest and do things I like to do. So I'm not just is working in a hamster wheel and then I'm like out of nowhere I'm just like I'm done with everything. So resting and then not giving into imposter syndrome. So I know what I'm good at. I be getting hired and all of that, so I'm good at something. And so just not giving into like I can't do this or I haven't done this before, so I must not know how to do it, and just being confident in my skills. in my past skills and future skills and what I'm willing to learn and knowing that I can do it.
That's awesome. Dope. So like outside of your role, like what are some of your hobbies and other things or hats that you wear?
Yeah, so I'm a small business owner. I have a social impact communications kind of agency. It's called Fervent Social Impact because I love social impact. Like, you know, with the policy, going back to that, I was in policy and like nonprofit stuff. So just any way that like the community can be amplified, funded, supported, anything, I'm always interested in. And so I have a business where I do communications and kind of like digital marketing for mostly small businesses in Austin or ones that like are catered to like Black owned businesses or LGBTQ plus businesses, different things like that, just so they can get the amplification because small businesses need that support. I also like to write. So I'm a screenwriter. I like to do that for fun. And I actually got involved in screenwriting or actually taking it seriously through Torch Literary Arts, which is one of my other hats. So I do comms for Torch Literary Arts, which is so fun. It's a nonprofit for Black women writers. So screenwriting is my thing. You might see some short films soon. Just know that was done on my spare time, and that means I was resting and doing what I like. And I also like to travel, so I like to go around the country and outside the country.
What's some of your favorite places you travel to?
Brazil. I love Brazil. It's so beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful country and really nice culture. So
Right, nice. That's definitely, I haven't been there yet, but that's definitely on my list for sure.
you gotta go. It's so beautiful, and it's actually like a fact. I looked it up because I was like, a third of like during the slave trade, like a third of people were like dropped off in Brazil, and I was like, I did not know. It's a very cultural. Yeah.
No, I did not know that. That's
yeah,
dope.
it's a very cultural city.
No. Somebody just asked, how long did you visit for?
I was there for a week, and I took off. I didn't work at all. None of my jobs. That was part of my rest that I deserved, and it was so peaceful. So I was out there for a week, and I woke up near the beach, and I was at the beach almost every day. I was eating good food. I watched the samba dancers perform and all of that. So it was a good time.
Oh, I'm moving up on the top of my list, so I don't have it.
Yeah. Go to Rio.
So yeah, what's one of the biggest pieces of advice you would give to those looking to get into tech or just to promote themselves in the tech industry?
Yeah, one thing I would say is like, even if you don't have those technical skills, think about the skills that you're really, really good at that come natural to you. Like, I am not an extrovert, but I can be a people person if I need to be a people person, and that comes naturally. And I'm like super passionate about funding community like initiatives, and so that's something that for me is easy. It's not something I always do like in my spare time either, but it's something that I know if I can get paid to do this, why not? So think about the things that like make you unique, that showcase why you're different from everyone else. So with me, it was the policy thing, and kind of look for tech jobs that are looking for what you're good at. So if you like writing, there's so many communications jobs in tech. If you like, I'm trying to think of non-technical things. Even if you're like a creative, like there's creative strategy jobs in tech. They need people with that like different eye to be like, okay, when we shoot this commercial or this ad, this is how we should do it. If you're a photographer, they always need photographers. And some of that is contract work too. So you don't have to be like in STEM, even though that's amazing too. Shout out to y'all, because that's hard for me. I don't understand it. But if you have something that isn't even like technical or in STEM, think about what you can offer, what you like to do, and what you're naturally good at, and just adapt that to the tech industry and look for jobs in that. So if you're creative strategy. If you're a writer, comms, copywriter. If you are, I'm trying to think, what are some other little?
There's the marketing side.
Like
a mix between I'm a creative at heart too, so marketing to that. I mean, project management. I don't think it's like super techy.
It's not.
Yeah, there's definitely a ton of different pathways. For sure.
So if you're bossy, that's project management. That's how I'm like, if you are type A and always on top of your stuff, and like you always have a list going, and deadlines, and you like to be on time or early. Project management is that one too. So just thinking about like what works for you and what's natural to you is one of the easiest things, because it's easy to talk about yourself too. Like, I know how to do this and that. And it's not like you have to, of course, prepare for interviews, but you don't have to like try to find all these different things and remember them. You're just talking about yourself and what you're good at. And so it feels good. And also something we mentioned earlier is doing the open to on LinkedIn. So if you don't want the big green sign, or if you're contemplating leaving your current job and you don't want like the drama associated with having like open to work on your profile, just have it open to where it only shows to recruiters. And that's something that like recruiters will see, and they'll be like, oh, okay, cool. Like, let me look at your profile, or start looking at different jobs you're interested in. And you can search recruiter in the companies. And that's what I used to do too, because I quit politics or lobbying for a long time. And I was like, I just quit. So I didn't have a job for 6 months. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to like do research. So I was looking at all these like really cool tech companies, or looking at journals and seeing what the new tech was, and then going to their LinkedIn profiles and typing in recruiter, and you can see the different recruiters. You can add them. They're looking at your stuff and all that. So you can be friendly on LinkedIn without having to post all the time.
Right. Yeah. That's good. You've been dropping some gems. I like that.
Yay.
But yeah, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. I'm gonna open the floor if anybody has any questions. I see that there's still like 10 people on.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'm gonna give it like a minute. While we wait on that, if there's anybody who wants to share their story, please scan the QR code or reach out to us via social media or our email, which is contact@AUTMHQ.org. But yeah, does anybody have any questions? I don't see anything coming in. Let's see. All right, I guess nobody has any questions. I guess you dropped so many gems. Yeah, did you have anything else, or where can people find you, or one question just came in. It says, what's the biggest challenge to self-driving cars aside social acceptance, and how many jobs? Hold on, let's move in. So it says, what's the biggest challenge to self-driving cars aside social acceptance? So that's part one. I'm gonna just ask a part one.
Okay. Besides social acceptance, I think technology and roadways. So roads are always changing. That means the technology always has to change. And so luckily we got some really great engineers, but anytime there's a road change, just making sure that we are on top of that, like with construction, with road changes, talking to different public safety avenues and organizations to make sure that we're doing what we need to do when it comes to road safety and any road changes. I think that's like most technical thing, kind of where it's like, okay, we got to make sure that software is updated so all the Waymo cars know like not to turn here anymore because this road is closed or it's no longer a road or something. So I think the updates to the road work, especially in Austin.
Right. Nice. And then they asked, how many jobs is Waymo looking to create? Which I know it's kind of like a great period right now, but I guess where can people, like, do they go to Waymo still to look for jobs, or do they go on the Uber side now?
That's a good question. So actually with Waymo, I'm a contractor and they have a lot of contractor jobs. So depending on what you're into, like they have people. Oh, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that, because there are people, like if you're used to working on cars or anything like that, like they'll usually hire a lot of former truck drivers or people who've driven for Uber or Lyft, or who work on cars or do that kind of technician stuff. Or if you like to drive, there are people always mapping the cars, like so that you might see people riding in them, and that's just because they're mapping how the car is going to work. That's actually through TransDev. It's TRANS. Oh, can I put it in here?
Yeah, you should be able to
put it in there. All right. The company is called TransDev. It's a contracting agency, but they have a lot of contracting jobs, and that's through Waymo Anywhere. So a lot of people will kind of like work in Phoenix and then move to Austin and then move to LA and then move to wherever the next market is. And so they're really good about that. I have some friends that work on the trans dev side that love connecting with people. So if you're interested, also hit me up on LinkedIn. I will accept your request and I will try to connect you because I can try to connect you with some other contract agencies in Waymo. And if you're super technical, you can go to Waymo's website for the engineer side. They have lots of jobs on there.
Nice. Kendra asks, is public policy hard to get into?
I would say no. Yes and no. If you like, anyone can go to like a city council meeting or a state legislative hearing. Sometimes information can be hard to like learning about them can be hard, but there's a lot of different local organizations who do that work, who give out tips on, okay, this bill is coming up. If you feel this way about this bill, please go out and, here's a script, here's how you can talk about it. And so on that side, like anyone can be engaged in policy in any way, shape, or form. As a volunteer, as someone who's passionate about something, or even in the job market, there's a lot of different internship programs, no matter what stage in life you are. Like there's the Texas Legislative Internship Program here in Texas, and that's usually for a lot of Black and brown interns looking to get inside the Capitol. And I've actually met a lot of friends that way.
Nice. We have a question from Michael. He says, how important is networking to your career?
Oh, super important. It's very important because just because, when you don't have that traditional tech background and you're looking to get into tech, you have to kind of, wiggle your way or just know who to talk to that does like the creative side of things or the marketing side or the public affairs side. So I would say networking on LinkedIn helped me a lot. Even when I wasn't looking for a job at Waymo, I was thinking of going into the green energy side. And so I was adding people left and right from different agencies that were like, we're interested. And I'm like, hey, even if I like would do outreach to like 50 people, maybe 5 people would respond and want to get coffee or meet online for 30 minutes. And that was just enough for me to send my resume. They got to know me. And now I have connections in like California and in New York and all these other places in the green energy. So networking is definitely essential just because you never know who you'll meet. And even if it's like, okay, I'm reaching out to like this many people and only these many people are responding, I got a lot of my jobs, contracts, and everything just by saying, hey, I'm Brittany, I'd love to meet, this is what I do. So it's super important.
Nice. And we have one more from Elaine. You hit on this a little bit earlier, but if you can just go over some of those quick points again. She asked, how did you cater your resume to get into tech?
Yeah, so I highlighted everything that was kind of technology focused in my job. So as a lobbyist, I worked with a genetic data privacy bill. And so that's data privacy. Data privacy is like something that's super big in tech. So I highlighted kind of that aspect. Anytime when I worked for AT&T, it was 5G, and that's data privacy, and that's internet. And so kind of highlighting any little piece, like if you could just get a piece of paper or just sit back and think about anything you've ever worked on ever, if anything has anything to do with privacy, data, science, math, anything that has anything to do with STEM in any way, shape, or form, highlight that. Even if it was like a small project, just highlight it because it's something that you contributed and worked on. And then I'd also look at the job description and see what they want. So with public affairs, a lot of tech companies want someone who's already immersed in that community that they're working in. And so with Waymo, I was like, okay, let me highlight all the things I've done in the community, all the different nonprofits I know, all the different potential nonprofits we could sponsor. If it's with Waymo, they're concerned about safety and transportation. And so it's like, what are some transportation nonprofits or who would care about transportation? And so kind of going in with a game plan on how you can help them is the easiest way. And so it just depends. Like to get into tech, it depends on the role too. So since my role isn't technical, I'm like highlighting all the things I'm good at that they're looking for, and anything tech related that I can explain easily on my resume.
Nice. Well, I think that was it for the questions.
Yay.
Thanks again so much for joining us. I guess you said people can find you on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. It's Brittany Heckard on LinkedIn.
Nice.
um, and I'll add you back. And if you have any questions about public policy or just, I don't know, anything, just DM me.
Nice. All right, thanks for joining us. Everybody, make sure you follow us on our socials, and if you haven't yet, join our newsletter to stay up to date on all events like these and in-person events. And I hope everybody have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. Thank you so much, Brittany.
Of course, of course. Oh, thank you, AJ, for putting my LinkedIn in there.
All right, y'all.
Bye.